All right, welcome to yet another video for continuing building our shed. Last time we put the panels onto the floor frame. Before we go on, let's name some things so that it's not confusing to us. So there's only one thing called an assembly, but let's go to this Part Studio. You probably have it called Part Studio 2, and let's rename that and call it floor panels. And enter, and let's go ahead and call the Part Studio 1. Let's rename that and call that floor frame parts. Okay, so now we know kind of what we're looking at. You don't have this floor picture because I just did that to show you. And now we're going to go ahead and keep going. And we're going to now build some walls. So we're going to need a bunch of stuff. Let's start a new tab, create a new Part Studio. We're in another Part Studio. Before we get going, let's go ahead and rename this right now. And let's call it wall structure. And we're going to call that wall structure. We're going to build some walls, but first of all, we need some parts. So let's go ahead and again, sketch. Let's do it on the top here. And again, we're going to hit P for getting rid of the planes and N to make us normal. In other words, we're looking straight at the top here. All right, let's start. We're going to make a bunch of rectangles. The first one will hook up to the origin, but the rest of them we won't. So this will be the only one that's black. The rest of them will be blue, which is just fine. So we're going to click on that, pull outward, and click again. And just like we made those other ones, this one is going to be a 4x6, which is actually 3.5, enter, 5.5, enter. Okay, so you should see those numbers. If that didn't work, undo and try again. If you're missing a value, you can always go up to this dimension tool and dimension it. By the way, if I put this in and I try and put 5.5 in, it's going to yell at me. It's going to go, wait, because you can't do something twice. You're confusing the computer. So if that happens to you, it's because you tried to do it twice, which means I got to undo what I just did. Let's see if I can undo it all the way. Good. But we should see that. Let's make one more of these. Yeah, kind of copy it, or that little line will show that we're lined up, but it doesn't have to be. And again, we're going to click and hit 3.5, enter, 5.5. Okay, those are the dimensions of a 4x6. So we need two of those. All right. Now we're going to need a whole bunch of 2x4s, 8 of them to be precise. So let's just draw one of them to be first. So we're going to, again, use our 2-point rectangle. Again, you can hover over these points and pull over to line it up if you want. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and this one, I'm going to go click. And this one's going to be 1.5, enter, 3.5, enter. So we got a 1.5 by 3.5, your standard 2x4. Now, rather than make a whole bunch of these, because we're going to need 8 of them, we're just going to make a pattern out of this. So let's get out of the command by hitting right click, hit escape rectangle, or hit the escape, or you can kind of click in an open area. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag a box around that part, but only that. See how it highlights it? So you should have it highlighted. And then up here somewhere, hopefully, remember, if yours doesn't look like me, you'll have drop-down menus that will show this somewhere. You have this thing that says linear pattern. So we're going to click on that. Okay. Now it looks a little weird, but when you start pulling these arrows, it's going to show you that right now, oh, we have 2 going in that direction and 3 going in this direction, but we need 8. So let's go ahead and change that one, double click on it and change it to a 4 so that you have 8 of them. And once you're done, see how the little green check mark shows on the mouse? When we left click, it's going to say, okay, cool. We've got that. So you should have 3.5 by 5.5 twice. You got a 2.5 by 3.5, and then we made a pattern out of that. These dimensions don't really matter. They were just the dimension of the pattern, and it doesn't matter as long as we did that right. If it didn't work out for you, again, undo, try again. All right, we're going to finish sketch 1, and we're going to do a whole bunch of extruding and naming. So let's tilt this by, again, right mouse click, kind of pull a little bit so you can see a slanted view of this. And we're going to start extruding and naming. Okay, here we go. Follow with me, please. Hit extrude. Let's do this very first one. Okay. It's going to come towards us, which is just fine. Actually, I want to flip the direction. Let's flip it so it goes away from us. So notice what I did. I hit the flip arrow. Okay. Again, if something's not working, exit out. Try again. Okay. Undo. You can always hit extrude. Okay. We're going to click that. Let's flip the direction each time. All right. This first one is going to be 41 inches long, and we'll explain why later. Hit your check mark. Now the sketches are going to go away. Don't worry about it. Okay. And let's name that right now. We're going to call that door header. Whoops. Okay. Door header. All right. Now the other sketches are still there. We just need to come up here to sketch 1 and turn it back on. All right, cool. So we're going to extrude. I'm going to start going a little faster so you can follow me. Let's flip it. And that one is going to be 27 inches long. Enter. Okay. Hit the check mark once we're done. And we're going to rename this as window header. All right. Next, we're going to extrude. Now these still are all showing up. We're going to extrude the next one. Doesn't really matter which one, but flip. But why don't you go in the same order I'm going? So I did the bottom left of those. And that is going to be 41. Enter. Okay. Check mark. And we're going to make this one rename. And we're going to call that door header spacer. Next, extrude, top one, flip it. That one is going to be 27 inches. Okay. Hit your check mark, go down and call that one window header spacer. Okay, this is also that we can find these later. So we have 2 of these at one length and 2 of these at another length because you're going to put a board on top of the other one to give it a little more space. All right, keep on going. Here we go. I'm going to check myself off as we go because I need to know what I'm doing here. And here we go. Let's go ahead and hit extrude. Some of these are going to be really long. Okay. So like that one, flip it. That one is going to be 120 inches long. Enter. Enter again might get rid of that. Yeah, you can hit enter again. And we're going to right click, rename. Don't worry about the color. We'll change all that later. And we're going to call that side wall plates that are 120 inches. Enter. Okay. Extrude. Let's go down to the bottom one. Flip it. And we're going to make that one 87.5, so 87.5. And enter. And that one is going to be the stud. We cut a whole bunch of these to that length when we actually make the shed. All right, I'm going to cross some things off as we go. Next, this dude, flip it, and we're going to make that one 80.5. Enter, enter. My computer's being a little slow, but it's going to work. And right click, rename, and that's going to be a jack stud. Enter. 3 more to go. We're doing great. Next, we're going to we're going in the same order we've gone. Flip it. This one is going to be 89 inches long. Enter, enter. And this one is going to be called front and back plates. Front, you can use the ampersand, front and back plates. Enter. 2 more. We're doing great. Extrude. Let's do that dude and flip it. And this is going to be 24 inches long. Enter, enter. That one is going to be the sill. Let's call it window sill. And finally, the last one is going to be a cripple. Extrude, flip, 55. I think I did my math right. And if I didn't, we can always come back and change it. So we're going to rename the last one as cripple. We're not going to have short cripples because we're going to put the headers right up against the top of the frame. All right, cool. So we've got all 10 of those parts. Let's click on all of them by hitting the control button and just selecting every single one of them. And let's make those the color that we like. Right click. You know, your color might be different than mine. Edit appearance. I liked that one. You might have liked something else, and that's okay. All right, so there's all my parts. And now that I have them, I can turn this sketch off because I don't need that sketch on anymore. Cool. All right, we're ready to start building a wall. So we're going to build a different assembly. So let's go to this assembly that we made and right click on it and hit rename. And let's call that full shed. That's the whole thing, okay? But we're going to make another assembly. We're going to come up to the plus, create an assembly, okay? And let's call this one front or back wall. Let's go rename. Front / back wall. You could have put it and also. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to call it front and back wall. We only need to make it once because we're going to use it twice in there because they're really the same thing. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Let's start by inserting, okay? And we're going to insert from Part Studios, and we're going to expand wall structure. Notice there's a whole bunch of things in here, right? So we're going to put front and back plates in here. Click on that. Click it out over here. Click. We're going to put that in here, and we need one more. So let's click front and back plates. Put it over here. Click. All right. Now, that's good enough for now. Let's go ahead and hit the green check mark. Now, I want to take both of these, and because the studs are going to go the same way, I want to flip them downward, but I want to flip them a very specific way. I want them to fall kind of this way, right? So as if it's falling on that edge. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to click on this part, and I want to make sure I catch the right thing. Look carefully and make sure it's as if it's falling over on that longer edge. We're going to go down to 90 degrees. Cool. Just like that, as if it just fell over. It wouldn't fall over along this edge. Okay, so check to make sure you're doing the right thing. Okay, and just click off of it somewhere and it will go. And let's do the same thing to the other one. Make sure you're catching the right thing. 90 degrees. Cool. All right. Now, I don't want things to get jacked up, so I'm going to fix one of these in place. So let's choose one of them over here, whatever looks lower to you, front and back, and we're going to right click on it and fix that into place. And you should see that little symbol show up right there. Okay. The other one should not have a symbol because we should still be able to move that by clicking on it and dragging the mouse. But this one I can't. And we want it that way, but we only want one part fixed. All right. Now we're going to put in a stud. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to put in, let's go ahead and insert. And again, we're going to expand wall structure. We're in Part Studios. And I want to put in a stud. That's all we're doing is putting in one stud. We got our top and bottom plates. And that's good. All right. Now, we should be getting better at attaching things. So I want to line up that corner with that corner and set my end stud on top of the plate. So let's do that. Fasten mate, zoom in so you can see that little blue line. It's sticking towards me on that corner. And I'm going to zoom in here and have it go sticking towards me on this corner. It's the right way. I don't have to flip anything. If it isn't the right way, maybe flip stuff. And if it didn't work out, try it again. All right. So now before I put the top plate on, I'm going to kind of move the top plate sort of out of my way. All right. Now this is a butt wall. So on this shed, the end walls, the front and back are the butt walls and the sides are the by walls. So we need to be a little bit tricky about how we do this. Let's get out of this fasten command. I don't want it there anymore. Sometimes these things move again. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stud. I'm going to select it. Only that though. I'm going to click off of it. So I'm only selecting one. Make sure only stud is connected. If you accidentally have two things, then just click somewhere. Okay, and make sure we have that selected. Now, this I am going to, I thought I was going to move it. Okay, I take it back. We're not doing that. Let's hit escape or kind of click anywhere to get out of that. We do need to put one more in. My apologies. Let's go in, Part Studios, expand. We need one more stud. Sorry about that. Okay, because it's kind of tricky. Okay, this time we're going to line up this corner with that corner. Okay, and we're going to move it along. Now, this is a butt wall, so I'm going to move it 16 inches, but then I'm going to subtract 3.5 because remember that pattern started outside 3.5. So let's go ahead and put it in fasten mate. We're going to select the bottom corner of that dude, click with the blue facing towards me, and then this guy here, click. Now, it happened, you can't see it because I'm putting one board inside of another, okay? But we'll see how this works soon. We're going to offset that, and we're going to offset it in the direction of X. Now, I'm not really good at adding and subtracting in my head, so watch this. I'm just going to go 16 minus 3.5, okay? Hit enter will give me a preview. Now, if it goes the wrong way for you and it sticks out over here, just change this to a negative 16 minus 3.5 and it will still work. But you need to 16.3 minus 3.5 in parentheses if you're going to make it negative. Watch, I'm going to show you what that looks like. If I put negative in front of it and enter, see how it goes the other way? So, whoops, I messed up. Okay. Now, I could undo this, or I could go back to this fasten mate and just double click on it to edit it and go, whoops, I didn't mean to put that minus there. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Cool. All right, so we've got the second one in. Now we can go ahead and continue building this wall by making a pattern out of this. So here's what I was trying to do earlier. We're going to go to that stud that we just put in and click on it over here in this browser. Make sure it's highlighted. And we're going to make a assembly linear pattern. So you're going to click on that. Notice it shows us that we've chosen stud 2 here. And now it wants us to choose a direction. So see where this is pink? You have to click on that to do it. Now I'm choosing a direction, and you're going to choose a line that goes along the length of the wall, like that one. Click. Now notice it already put one 1 inch away, but we want it to be 16 inches away. Okay. Watch, if I hit enter, not twice, I just hit it once, it'll give me a preview of what that looks like. But I need more than one, so if I click on 2, watch, I can roll my mouse and actually keep going until I get them. Oh, that's too many, roll back. So I need 5 of them. Okay, cool. Good deal. Now we're not quite done because I do need to put that stud on the end. Let's go ahead and do that. Insert, Part Studios, expand wall structure, stud. Okay, click wherever it works for you. I'm going to go a little faster because you kind of know what you're doing. Let's get out of that. Let's do our fasten mate, and let's do a corner to a corner. Okay, this corner, click to that corner, click with the Z blue thing facing the right way. Looks good. And finally, we're going to put our, I'm still in the fasten to mate command to make a new one. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that on. I'm going to choose that corner to that corner and put my top plate on the top. Make sure you don't have boards going into boards. Sometimes people choose this and they go down too far. If that happened to you, undo, do it again. And there is your front and back wall. We can get out of the fasten command, and good job. All right, guys, take a snapshot of this, turn it in, and next time we will make our front and back walls. Or sorry, we did make front and back walls. We will make our side walls. Good job. Catch you next time.